Council is reconvened. If you could please find your seats. We have one combined public hearing this evening. Speakers should begin their remarks by telling the council their names and cities of residence, and if they feel comfortable doing so, their home addresses. If you are here to answer questions only when your name is called, please come to the podium, state your name, and note that you are available for questions of council. Speakers will have 3 minutes, and there is no yielding of time. On the presentation monitor on the wall, you will see your time counting down. Speakers must stay on the topic of the meeting and must direct their comments to the council members. Please refrain from profane or obscene speech. Direct your comments to council as a whole, and please refrain from individual or personal attacks. Councilwoman Sussman, will you please put Council Bill 302 on the floor?
Certainly. I move that Council Bill 19-0302 be placed upon final consideration and do pass.
It has been moved and seconded. Before we go into the hearing, Councilman Kashmann, I understand that you have some amendments to offer this evening so that speakers may address these amendments during their comment period if they should choose to. Would you do a brief description of them now?
I will. Thank you, Mr. President. And I don't take lightly putting an amendment on the floor at this point, but for reasons I'll discuss a little bit more later, I felt it was important to do so. Later this evening, I will offer an amendment to Council Bill 302 to change the clerk's reference number to the filed comprehensive plan to allow for inserting the following sentence on page 57 of the comprehensive plan under the environmentally resilient introduction. And that amendment reads, "The science is clear. Our planet is facing a global crisis attributed largely to human behavior that is changing climate patterns around the world. This environmental emergency threatens to alter our normal landscape, limiting where we can live, where we can grow our food, and how we are able to access natural resources. As we look to our future, we recognize that reversing our contribution to climate change is critical. How we plan our city can help us reduce our drain on resources and reduce Denver's carbon footprint to eliminate our collective contribution to the climate change crisis. That commitment must be our overarching guide." I will also offer an amendment to Council Bill 303 to change the clerk's reference number to the filed Blueprint Denver to allow for inserting the following sentence on page 27 of Blueprint Denver under the vision introduction. Same sentence, but I'll read it again. "The science is clear. Our planet is facing a global crisis attributed largely to human behavior that is changing climate patterns around the world. This environmental emergency threatens to alter our normal landscape, limiting where we can live, where we can grow our food, and how we're able to access natural resources. As we look to our future, we recognize that reversing our contribution to climate change is critical. How we plan our city can help us reduce our drain on resources and reduce Denver's carbon footprint to eliminate our collective contribution to the climate change crisis. That commitment must be our overarching guide." Mr. President, I'll just add that this amendment has been put together with the cooperation of Community Planning and Development and the Denver Department of Public Health and Environment.
Thank you very much, Councilman Kashmann. The combined public hearing for Council Bill 302 and Council Bill 303 is open. Speakers may address either or both bills, including the amendments that Councilman Kashmann just read out, and will offer up with each bill when we vote later this evening. At the conclusion of the public hearing, Council will vote separately on each bill and separately on the amendments as well. So with that, may we have the staff report?
Hi, good evening, members of City Council. My name is Jill Jennings, and I am the Interim Executive Director for Community Planning and Development. And I'm absolutely thrilled to be here in front of you tonight to present the final drafts of Comprehensive Plan 2040 and Blueprint Denver. Based on 3 years of hard work by tens of thousands of Denver residents, neighborhood groups, community leaders, and city staff, these plans reflect our shared community vision for an inclusive, connected, and healthy city. I want to thank City Council for all of your time that you have put into shaping these plans. Your extensive review, countless briefings with staff, and invaluable assistance to help us schedule public meetings has helped make tonight possible. I also want to thank the thousands of Denverites who took the time to engage in this process and give us their thoughtful comments. These plans reflect their voice, and we are excited to see them adopted and to begin implementation. As we start that work of implementation, we look forward to continuing to partner with the community to make this vision a reality through such things as using zoning to improve residential design, protecting historic neighborhoods and integrating cultural heritage into our preservation program, supporting public works and their updates to Denver street design standards for safer, greener, high-quality streets and sidewalks, and creating a citywide incentive for building affordable housing near transit, just to name a few. I will now turn it over to Sarah Showalter, who will present the staff report on Comprehensive Plan 2040. Thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jill. Good evening, City Council. I'm Sarah Showalter with Community Planning and Development, and I'm going to talk about Comprehensive Plan 2040. So I just wanted to start with a quick reminder that we have a great foundation. Comprehensive Plan 2000 was a good starting point for us as we launched this process 3 years ago, and there's still some great values and vision components of that plan that we're carrying forward in the draft plan before you tonight. I also wanted to remind everybody that Comprehensive Plan 2040 is part of the Denveright package of plans that we've been working on for 3 years now. As a reminder, that includes 5 total plans. Comprehensive Plan 2040 plays the role of really tying all of those plans together. Denveright was a very, very robust community outreach process. We were committed to try and reach as many people in Denver as we could. That includes all the different geographies of our city, as well as many demographics as we could hit as well. So we really focused on how do we engage people in different ways throughout the process. This included having traditional public meetings and community meetings was a huge component, but it also included a lot of other techniques to try and reach as many people as possible. So some of the different tools that we used was our website. We had a great interactive website with lots of surveys. That included map-based surveys where we could get comments on draft maps in the plan. We also had paper surveys that we brought, particularly to some of the focus groups that we did in communities that don't have as much online access. We did a lot of events with what we called our street team, which was a great group of staff and volunteers that went out to meet people where they are, recognizing that some people may never come to a public meeting, but we still want to hear from them. We, of course, also had a lot of volunteers that spent countless hours working on the different plans through the task forces as well as the Denveright think tank. And we did office hours throughout the community as well, which was more focused on one-on-one time with staff for people to really dive into the content of the plans. And all together, that totaled over 25,000 touch points from the community. We don't have a way to track exactly how many different individuals participated, because many people participated multiple times, taking different surveys, coming to different meetings, but we know it was well over 25,000 pieces of input received. And this is just a summary again of all the different tools we used. This is also a map showing how much we tried to reach every city council district throughout the city, going to the far corners of our city as well as the core. And through all of that community input and the many, many voices that we heard from, we were able to develop what we call our 6 vision elements. They're the foundation of Denveright, and in particular, the foundation of the comprehensive plan. These are the 6 vision elements. Before you, I'll walk through them if folks aren't able to read them on the screen in just a minute. And just wanted to remind everybody the role that the comprehensive plan plays. This document really is about what do we want Denver to be over the next 20 years? What are our values as a city? And what are the important policies that should guide us as we make decisions in the future? So all of those vision elements come together, and they also have informed a series of goals under each vision element that tie together all of the plans that we have as a city, not just Denveright plans, but other plans too, like the Climate Action Plan and Housing and Inclusive Denver and Imagine 2020. We really worked extensively across multiple departments in the city to reflect what we heard from the community, but also bring components of these city plans together and show how it's all interconnected and formed by the same vision. And so the way that the plan is organized, so there's a short chapter on each vision, and that vision element contains goals and then more detailed strategies under the goals. We also have where to find more for each vision element, which is basically kind of a guide to point you to all the plans that are most relevant to that vision element with more detailed strategies on how we'd actually implement. So we really want the comprehensive plan to play a role of bringing all of our plans together and kind of stitching them into one vision framework. So very quickly, I will walk through what's in each of those chapters. This is by no means a comprehensive review. The draft plan was included for you, and it's been online in its final form for people to view as well, but wanted to hit the highlights. So under the first vision element, equitable, affordable, and inclusive, we very intentionally put this vision element first. I would say of all the community input we heard, the concerns around equity and really building an inclusive city where we have the ability for everyone who wants to afford to live here to do so was a huge theme. So some of the topics that you'll find addressed in the goals and strategies in this chapter deal with affordable housing, with equitable access to all the services and amenities that our city needs, mitigating involuntary displacement for residents and businesses, education, and really trying to integrate equity into all the work we do as a city, thinking about how we can better integrate it into decision-making, including things like our budget decisions and all of the plans that we do moving forward. Strong and authentic neighborhoods. We also heard so much about this from the community. We have so many wonderful, unique neighborhoods in Denver, and preserving them, reflecting what makes them so unique was very important to the community. So we have a lot in this chapter about urban design, historic preservation, creating complete neighborhoods, and safety was also another big concern that came up that's addressed here. Connected, safe, and accessible. This element is really all about mobility, how we get around the city, making sure people feel safe, and we've designed a safe transportation network for all of our users, people of every age and every ability. It's also very much about providing the highest and best range of options for people and really thinking about what that means in terms of implementing and advancing a multimodal network. And this vision element, economically diverse and vibrant, is very much about how we can have a rounded economy in Denver, well-rounded economy that's diverse and sustainable and able to weather downturns because of that diversity. It's also very much about, on the vibrant component, the arts, culture, and creative industry that makes for a strong economy and a vibrant city. Environmentally resilient. This was a huge theme that we heard a lot from the community about. And is really important and focuses a lot on climate change and the realities of that and what it will mean for Denver if we don't continue to work to adapt and mitigate climate change. Also a lot about water and the importance of water conservation, solid waste reduction, protecting all of our waterways and the river in Denver, as well as green infrastructure, stormwater, soil remediation, and as well, another big topic under resiliency is emergency planning and making sure that we have a city ready and prepared for any large event that might come our way. And then we have healthy and active. We also heard a lot from the community about how much they treasure living in a city where we have access to mountain parks. We have so many great open spaces and trails and recreation, and how vital that is to our vision going forward. This vision element also has a lot about increasing and making sure we have equitable access to the health services that everybody needs, as well as including health analysis, which is something we already do in a lot of our plans, but looking for opportunities to advance that even more into our work as a city. And the final chapter in the comprehensive plan, this is an example where we use the comprehensive plan 2000 as a great foundation. That document had a lot in it about the importance of regional collaboration. It's still a very, very important theme now. And we're very aware that many of the vision elements in this plan can truly only be implemented with regional collaboration. Whether you're thinking about a transit network or our goals for open space and affordable housing, regional solutions will be really important. And as the core of the region and the city that's the model for everybody, this chapter really tries to set the standard that Denver will be a model, but also help lead regional collaboration. There's a lot more in the plan. I'm happy to answer more questions tonight, but we have a lot of people here to speak, so I want to keep things moving. And I will close by saying that the proposed Comprehensive Plan 2040 conforms with our code requirements for a city comprehensive plan, and staff recommends approval. And now I'm going to turn it over to David Gaspar to do a presentation on Blueprint Denver.
Thank you, Sarah. President, Council, David Gaspar, Principal City Planner in Community Planning Development and Project Manager for this update to Blueprint Denver. As with Sarah, we do want to mention that we are building off of an existing plan document, Blueprint Denver 2002. If you're familiar with the appendix of the new plan, we did a thorough diagnostic of Blueprint Denver, which has been guiding our land use and transportation since that adoption, and has served us very well. Moving forward to the new plan, which is in front of you today, it is our land use and transportation plan for growing an inclusive Denver, and we have three key elements to move that forward. First would be the addition of social equity factors to tailor solutions by neighborhood in the plan. It also contains a measured common sense approach to growth in Denver out to 2040, and it does that by working on creating complete neighborhoods and connecting those complete neighborhoods across all of Denver with a complete multimodal transportation network. When adopting a supplement to the comprehensive plan, there are three criteria to follow. It's an inclusive community process was used to develop the plan, that the plan was consistent with the vision, goals, and strategies of the comprehensive plan, and that it demonstrates a long-term view. So I'll just walk through those three questions with you tonight and try to answer them. So first, was an inclusive community process used to develop Blueprint Denver? Sarah's already mentioned the considerable amount of Denveright outreach with the 25,000 touch points, so I won't bring that back, but I do want to highlight our task force, which has 33 community members that were tasked to guide the plan throughout the entire process. They did bring an immense amount of professional, personal, and community expertise to the process, and also really worked as a liaison back to the community to communicate how the plan was evolving. 20 meetings over a 3-year period the task force met. Those meetings were open to the public, and they provided feedback on the community values, vision elements, plan framework, draft maps, and the draft recommendations that are in front of you tonight. We also had an equity subcommittee that was formed out of the task force, and they analyzed the public review draft for the plan, focusing on racial equity and institutional racism. We had 6 different community engagement windows, ranging from 1 to 6 months throughout the 3-year process. That included 2 public review drafts, the first being released in August of 2018, and then a revised public draft 2 coming out this January. Communication and additional outreach. Thanks to the umbrella of Denveright, we had a significant amount of promotion of the planning process, which was great. Much help from council members to get the word out on all the efforts. We had a robust website that had all the Denveright plans in one location. Our public comments that were received through the public drafts were actually posted on that website. We also had annotated versions of the drafts as we were trying to show our responses to those comments. We had translation services of the key plan documents and the website content. Interpretation services and child care were available at the public meetings. And additional outreach focusing on underrepresented communities was another key component of the process. So staff finding is Blueprint Denver was developed through an inclusive public process. Next is plan consistency. Is the plan consistent with the vision, goals, and strategies of the comprehensive plan? Those are the 6 vision elements that Sarah just went through with you. So I'll just step through each one of those and highlight the Blueprint Denver recommendations and how they advance the comprehensive plan. First and foremost, with equitable, affordable, and inclusive is the strong commitment to equity. We have those 3 equity concepts in our vision chapter. And we also speak about creating complete neighborhoods for everyone in all of Denver, across all of our neighborhoods. It advances affordable housing and housing diversity in all of our neighborhoods. and considers the potential for involuntary displacement with city-led projects. Second comprehensive plan, vision element, strong and authentic neighborhoods. Blueprint Denver recommendations focus on complete neighborhoods with increased access to amenities, high-quality urban design in all of our neighborhoods, working to preserve the authenticity and character of our neighborhoods, and empowering more people to be involved in planning processes, especially our small area plans as we go forward. Next vision element, connected, safe, and accessible places. Blueprint Denver presents the complete multimodal network to connect our neighborhoods and supports the city's Vision Zero action plan and mode share goals. It has recommendations related to equitable access to opportunity and services throughout Denver, and focuses growth near transit, especially in our centers and corridors. The economically diverse and vibrant vision element. Here we're focused on providing a diverse economy for all of Denver with a great mix of jobs throughout the city. Job growth is focused on our regional centers, community centers, and corridors with equitable access to those job areas. We have targeted investments for small locally owned businesses, recommendations preserving high-value manufacturing areas, and also promoting the innovation economy, including handcrafted maker spaces. With environmentally resilient, Blueprint Denver has recommendations addressing climate change and how to mitigate. Environmentally responsible, resource, and efficient building practices is another recommendation. It has recommendations related to landscaping requirements being climate appropriate. Recommendations on environmentally friendly and green infrastructure in development, and also managing stormwater as a holistic ecological system, as well as recommendations on improved air quality and water quality. And finally, with healthy and active, Blueprint Denver has recommendations increasing opportunities for a healthy lifestyle, supporting greater health considerations and analysis for more citywide programs, and expanding tools and regulations to ensure high-quality parks and open space throughout the city. So staff finds that Blueprint Denver is consistent with Comprehensive Plan 2040. And finally, long-term view. Does the plan demonstrate a long-term view? Blueprint Denver establishes a vision for an inclusive city of complete neighborhoods and networks in 2040. Plan recommendations are based on that long-term holistic vision and will take many years to achieve. So staff's finding is that Blueprint Denver has an appropriate long-term perspective. And we are here tonight with our council hearing on April 22nd. So staff recommendation, based on the findings that Blueprint Denver used an inclusive public process, is consistent with the Comprehensive Plan 2040, and that the plan takes a long-term view. Staff recommends adoption of Blueprint Denver.